Mood reading has taken a back seat for me in recent months, and as we head into summer, I am fully embracing reading for myself. So come along and find out what books I have put in my pile of possibilities to fit whatever mood I might meet this month. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome back to my reading life and welcome to another Pile of Possibilities video. If you are new here, I like to create a pile of possibilities rather than a TBR stack. Pile of possibilities just feels much more flexible to me than TBR, which sounds like a to-do list. So if sometimes reading starts to feel like a to-do list to you, maybe a pile of possibilities is what you want to consider when you're thinking about your reading plans for the coming month. Or sometimes it's fun just to read what you want to read and not make any kind of list at all. But the list maker in me really does enjoy putting these lists together. Even if I end up not reading off of them very fully, it's still just fun to put together a stack of books and have it there to pick from if I want to, or to completely disregard if I want to as well. Now, truth be told, in the past few months, I feel like I have had a lot of reading obligations. And even though they were books that I did want to read, I feel like I've had to put mood reading in the back seat. And so in June, I am bringing mood reading out of the back seat, putting it in the driver's seat, and letting it take almost complete control of my reading month for June. I only have 3 books that I am reading for book club, group reads, etc. Everything else I am just going to read for me. So I have pulled some books off of my shelves that are sounding good to me at this moment. Whether I get to them or not in June remains to be seen, but I am really wanting to start leaning into that summer reading feel, and that's definitely reflected in this stack. I'm going to share what I pulled to put in June's pile of possibilities, so grab yourself a cuppa and let us get into all the books I'm considering reading in June. I always like to start these pile of possibilities videos off with the books that I'm reading for group reads, book club, etc. And of course, the first book I want to share is the book we picked for the Cozy Reader Book Club for June, and that is The No. 1 Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall Smith. This is the first book in the series, and I have read about 14 or 15 of the books in this series so far, and I'm excited to go back to the beginning and remind myself of where it all began. This series follows Mama Ramatswe and her No. 1 Ladies Detective Agency. She lives in Botswana in Africa, and she, in this first book, is just getting started. So she's setting up her agency. She's trying to find an office space. She is trying to hire a secretary. And so you just kind of are meeting her, meeting the character. You get Mama Ramatswe's backstory as well. And so this is just a fun introduction to the series. One of our Cozy Reader Book Club members did mention that there is an aspect of Mama Ramatswe's background that might be a little bit triggering. So you might want to look that up if you think there might be something concerning for you in this. But aside from that, I really find this series to be very cozy, and it is perfect for summer reading because Botswana's climate is so warm. So these always draw me in during the summer months, and I'm excited to return to the beginning of this beloved mystery series. And then next up is the book that I am reading along with the D.E. Stevenson read-along group I am a part of over on Instagram. And for June, we are reading The Tall Stranger. And in this one, we're following Barbie France. She's come home to Underwoods after she's had a breakdown and been in hospital. And her kind Aunt Amelie, her indomitable companion Miss Penny, and the beauties of nature aid her rapid recovery, only dampened by a troubled romance with Amelie's stepson Edward, whom Barbie hasn't seen in years and whose character seems to have changed. When Barbie returns to her successful career as a decorator, new challenges and pleasures await, including a delightful trip to a castle in Scotland, which bears fruit both professional and private. Very much looking forward to this one. This book does include a character from the Musgraves, and so I'm excited to meet up with that character again and see what they're up to in The Tall Stranger. But I think this sounds wonderful, and you can never go wrong with D.E. Stevenson, right? Oh, and if you missed my D.E. Stevenson author spotlight, I will link that here in the cards and in the description box below if you want to go check that out. If you're a fan or haven't read her yet but want to see what she's about, I would love it if you would check out that video. But excited to have another D.E. Stevenson on my pile of possibilities for June. And then the third book that I will for sure be reading in June is a mystery. Not a mystery novel. It is just unknown to me at this moment in time. I have asked my Book Jenny's Patreon group to pick a book for me to read in June. And I gave them 3 books from Dean Street Press's Furrowed Middlebrow imprint, and I asked them to pick the one they want me to read in June, and then I am going to read it and vlog about it for them. And so I'm waiting to find out what book that is, but it will obviously be a Dean Street Press Furrowed Middlebrow book. It's actually going to be a book by an author I have never read before, so we're going to see if this is maybe a new author that I'm going to want to read more of. But yes, they have a few more days for voting. So one of the books is definitely in the lead at this moment in time, but anything's up for grabs still. So we'll see what they pick for me. And then I'm going to review that for them and vlog for them all about the experience of reading that. So that is my third book that I'm for sure reading in June. And now let us get into the books that I just pulled off my shelf because they were kind of calling to me this week. And first off, I have a Persephone book because I really am trying to put a Persephone book on my pile of possibilities for every month this year. Whether I read it or not is, hopefully I read it, but if I don't, that's okay. But I just want to get it on the pile of possibilities. And after doing my British women writers videos in May, I am just really excited to continue on with this particular author. So I decided to pull High Wages by Dorothy Whipple. And I can't remember what this is about really, other than that it follows, a young girl working in a dress shop, I believe. And so I think we're just going to follow along with her and her life and experiences. So I'm excited to experience more of Dorothy Whipple's writing because I loved Someone at a Distance so very much. And I've heard wonderful things about High Wages and I cannot wait to get to it. So hopefully I will read this one in June. Next up is a book that is actually a standalone, but it is by an author whose mystery series I absolutely adore. And the book I chose for June is Thales's Folly by Dorothy Gilman. Dorothy Gilman is the author of the Mrs. Polifax mystery series or spy thriller series, whatever you want to call it. But she's written a number of standalone books. I have a few others on my shelf, but Thales's Folly, first of all, this cover, it just looks like the perfect spring to summer transition. And this is all about a young man whose father asks him to go check out this old family property in Massachusetts that's been neglected since his aunt passed away a few years ago. And when he gets there, he finds out that the house is not deserted. It is actually got a bunch of squatters living there. They are all former guests of his aunt's, and I guess they just never left the house after she passed away. So we have Elegant Miss Lamadieu, hope I'm saying that correctly, Gussie the Witch, Leo the Bibliophile, and a beautiful 19-year-old Tarragon who's unlike any girl Andrew has ever met. So Andrew kind of gets drawn into their lives, but not all is well at Thales's Folly. There's a thief who breaks into the farmhouse, an old friend of the family, I think they mean the group of characters living at Thales's Folly, disappears. And while the piece that appears to have been Aunt Harriet's only legacy to her companions is destroyed, Andrew and Tarragon are drawn into mysteries they cannot fathom. I think this just sounds wonderful, and I cannot wait to get to this one. Has anyone read Thales's Folly? Did you enjoy it? I think it sounds fantastic, so I'm excited to get to this one in June. Next up is an author that I also added to this pile of possibilities because talking about this book in my last British Women Writers video made me want to read it ASAP, and that is The Town in Bloom by Dodie Smith. If you have been around here for any length of time, you know I love books set in the theater, and that is what this book is. It's also, I think, a bit of like a coming of age. So this is about a determined young Lancashire girl who arrives in London intent on becoming an actress. As Mouse bluffs and charms her way into the engrossing affairs of the Crossway Theatre, she meets a handsome actor-manager Rex and young stage director Bryce. When, with her close friends Molly and Lillian, she shelters from a storm, the three girls meet rich, enigmatic Zell, and this leads to a momentous outing to a Suffolk Village pageant. That was a mouthful. Anyway, I cannot wait to give this one a read. I really want to read more by Dodie Smith. She has a few other books that she wrote, even though she's most famous for I Capture the Castle. So really looking forward to this one. And then, if you can't tell by some of those books, I'm just in the mood for something just kind of light, refreshing, maybe humorous, maybe a little bit fast-paced. And so I decided that June needed to have some P.G. Wodehouse in it. And so I've really been wanting to continue on with the Blandings Castle series. So I decided that I would put Summer Lightning on my pile of possibilities for June. That is the second book, I believe, in the Blandings Castle series. I've read Something Fresh. We read that with the Cozy Reader Book Club a while back. And this bind up that I have also has Summer Lightning and Heavy Weather in it. So I'd really like to get to Summer Lightning in June at the very least. Maybe I'll just continue on and read Heavy Weather, or maybe add that to my July pile of possibilities. I don't know, but I loved Something Fresh so much. It was so funny. I still think about it and it makes me want to giggle. So that's exactly what I need in my reading life this month. Very much looking forward to this one. And then I decided to put a book that I just recently purchased on Independent Bookstore Day, and it's a relatively newer novel, and I'm just in the mood for it because I loved the first book by this author that I read. And so I've included How to Age Disgracefully by Claire Pooley. I really, really loved Iona Iverson's Rules for Commuting, and so I've heard great things. So many of you said you loved this one too, and this is about Daphne. She knows that age is just a number. She also knows that society no longer pays her any attention, something she exploits to help hide a checkered past. Finding herself alone on her 70th birthday, she decides to venture out. Joining a senior citizen social club horrifies her. She's not made to endure games of cards and the like, but the other members of the social club surprise her. When the local council threatens to close the club, they don't anticipate the seniors fighting back. But with the help of the toddlers next door, a teenage dad, and an orphan dog, this unorthodox gang sets out to save the place they love, as long as their pasts don't catch up with them first. That sounds delightful, and I just think this will be just kind of a quick, fun read with a bit of heart to it. That was what Iona Iverson was like, and so I'm excited to read more by Claire Pooley. Next up is a book that was actually on my May pile of possibilities, but I did not get to it, and I don't think I will get to it in the next few days. And this is a book that my mom lent to me. She just found it in a secondhand bookstore, picked it up randomly, and then just binge read it and said she loved it. And that is A Tenderfoot in Southern California. This is by Mina Deane Halsey. And this, I think, is just about a young girl who is, moves to Southern California and just her experiences there. It looks like it was first published in 1908, so it's quite old. And yes, I think this will also be a very quick read. There isn't a lot of text on every page, so I am just excited to kind of dive into this, and I think reading about Southern California in June sounds delightful. And then next, of course, I always like to have a mystery on my pile of possibilities. And so for June, I decided to include one that I just picked up recently in the library book sale that I went to. And it is one of the British Library crime classics, and that is Seven Dead by J. Jefferson Farjeon. And I think this cover just looks very summery. And I thoroughly enjoyed Mystery in White, which I read this winter by J. Jefferson Farjeon. So I got this one, and then I also got another mystery by him at the library book sale, which is set in autumn. So I will have a summer and an autumn mystery to read by him. Very much looking forward to both of these. This is about Ted Light, amateur thief. He's chosen to rob an isolated house on the coast for his first robbery. But Haven House is no ordinary country home. While hunting for silverware to steal, Ted stumbles upon a locked room containing 7 dead bodies. Detective Inspector Kendall takes on the case with the help of passing yachtsman Thomas Hazeldine. The search for the house's absent owners brings Hazeldine across the channel to Boulogne, where he finds that more than one motive to stay and investigate. So, very much excited. This was first published in 1939, so very much looking forward to a golden age classic crime novel in June. Next up, I picked a middle grade book by an author whom I really love, and I haven't read this title by her yet, and that is The Pink Motel by Carol Ryrie Brink. And this is about the Mellon family, and nothing very exciting had ever happened to Kirby Mellon, his father or his mother or his little sister Bitsy. All of that changes with the death of far distant Uncle Hiram, who leaves his Florida motel painted pink to Kirby's mom. People like the Mellons from Minnesota do not paint their buildings pink, and these 7 buildings are not just quietly pink, they are outrageously pink. It was pinker than Kirby's necktie or Bitsy's hair ribbon. It was pink, pink, pink. So it isn't long after the Mellons arrive at the motel that things go even more off-kilter, with regulars and some irregulars taking up residence at the cottages. There's old Miss Fairy, who talks to crabs and other beach creatures, Marvello the magician, the 2 gangsters Locke and Black, and jolly Mr. Carver, who has a knack for uncovering the secrets left by Uncle Hiram. Well, that just sounds like pure delight and a lovely June read, middle grade. And then my final 2 books on my pile of possibilities. It's a big pile. I realize that. I'm sure I won't get to all of these, but I like to have options. I have 2 memoirs here to close things out. And the first is one, again, this was another purchase from Independent Bookstore Day, and that is The Egg and I by Betty McDonald. So many of you have raved about this memoir, and I'm very much excited to reading it. And then, yes, I will watch the movie adaptation of it after I read the book. But this is about Betty McDonald when she married a Marine and moved to a small chicken farm on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State. She was largely unprepared for the rigors of life in the wild. With no running water, no electricity, a house in need of constant repair, and days that ran from 4 in the morning to 9 at night, the McDonalds had barely a moment to put their feet up and relax. And then came the children. Yet through every trial and pitfall, through chaos and catastrophe, this indomitable family somehow, mercifully, never lost its sense of humor. So I'm excited for this one. Again, like I said, I could use some laughs in my reading life, and it sounds like I might get them with The Egg and I. And then finally, I have a memoir that actually my mom talked about as being one of her favorite books that sort of was influential to her when she was growing up. And she shared that when I did my mother-daughter Q&A video, and you can watch that. I will link it here in the cards and in the description box below. We did that last summer, but she mentioned this book, and I immediately went out and found myself a secondhand copy of it, and that is Our Hearts Were Young and Gay. And this is by Cornelia Otis Skinner and Emily Kimbrough. So this memoir came out in 1942, and it is a collaboration of Cornelia Otis Skinner and her former Bryn Mawr classmate, Emily Kimbrough. This memoir charmingly and quite comically details the pair's youthful trip abroad 2 decades earlier when they were almost out of their teens and on their own for the first time. So I don't think I'm going to read any more than that. I am just going to go along for the ride because my mom loved it and she recommends the best books. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to this one, hopefully in June. Try not to drop these. There we have it. That is my big pile of possibilities for June. I'm very excited about these books. Can't wait to get started with some June reading. I would love to chat with you down in the comments. What are you looking forward to reading in June? Have you made your pile of possibilities yet? Are you just going to read what you want to read, what calls to you? Are you interested in any of the books that I shared here today? Or have you read any of these and did you love them and should I prioritize them? Let me know down in the comments below. Let us talk all things June reading. And since June is the start of summertime and I recently got some strawberries that were absolutely delicious, and I love summertime fruit. So let's leave some fruit emojis this time. Leave those down below if you don't have anything that you'd like to add in the comments, but you'd like to let me know you were here. Comments really do help my channel. I so appreciate you leaving those, and I love seeing them and knowing that you were here. And if you enjoyed this video, if you could hit that like button and also the hype button if you're on the YouTube mobile app, that really does help my videos get discovered and helps new viewers to find me. And if you're a new viewer and you haven't yet subscribed, I would love it if you would do so and join my cozy bookish community. Thank you all so much again for being here and taking time out of your day to spend it with me in my reading corner. Do you like my new banner? My lovely best friend has opened up her Etsy shop. I'm going to have that linked down in the description box below. If you would like to get yourself a banner for your own reading corner or your mantle or somewhere else in your home, she has a few different offerings up and she is adding new banners all the time. Lots more to come, big ones, mini ones if you don't have a lot of space. So be sure to head over and check out her Etsy shop and give her a follow on Instagram as well. I will link her Instagram shop, The Literary Garland. So be sure to check all that out. Get yourself a banner like one of the ones that I always have hanging behind me in all of my videos. She has made all of them for me. And as always, I'll be back with another video very soon. And until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa. Bye.